I think as we head toward Christmas, we're going to see a warm up across the country, but it's not going to last. We've got some really cold air across the eastern U.S., across the west, relatively mild though, a little chilly across the Pacific Northwest into British Columbia. But we are going to see that cold air lift out of the east. That means warmer days ahead, and I think you've got to watch for anything that develops here along the southern side of our ridge that starts to build up across Canada because something could sneak in underneath it. And do we see some kind of upper low, and that could lead to some snow? Something to be determined. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video today. A bit of a different format, so let me know down in the comments how you like it. We're going to go into the national outlook, and then we're going to dig into each region of the country in detail. So a little bit of a different look. On this Saturday, we've got some lake effect snow going here, high pressure, although building into the Great Lakes, that's going to dry things out. Across the south, we're looking dry, and then our storm across the Pacific Northwest, also into Northern California, bringing some rain and snow here. That's going to push into the British Columbia mountains right here along Alberta and British Columbia. The Canadian Rockies are going to get some snow out of this, and then some light mixed precip possible for parts of eastern Montana into North Dakota. Our next strong storm moves into the Pacific Northwest as we head into Sunday with more rain and snow here. Snow levels are pretty high. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. And then we've got this clipper system that's going to move through the Great Lakes and then into the Northeast. It could give you at least a white Christmas Eve for parts of the Northeast. Too warm for snow across the South, just rain here. And then our snow levels start to come down across the West as we head into Tuesday. And then toward Wednesday, our return flow off the Gulf brings rain showers north. This system that's moving out of Colorado will likely move off to the east. It's going to bring some rain for the Central Plains states. And are we looking at the possibility of some severe weather here into Texas? We'll dive into that too in just a moment. Quite soggy across the southeast, dry here into the northeast as we wrap up the week. And then there's a lot of question as to what happens after this, and we will dive into that as well. Let's start in the Northeast, where we are dealing with a few light snow showers still into parts of the northern mountains up here in the White and Green Mountains, also off the Great Lakes. Some lake effect bands here off of Lake Erie and Ontario, and a few flurries left across parts of the coastal areas. That's starting to wrap up, and it will continue to dwindle down through Saturday, and by Sunday, we're clearing out with some sunshine and high pressure building in. That doesn't last very long. We've got more snow on the way here. You'll start to see it first in parts of Ontario as we head into Monday. And some of that snow could at least put down some decent accumulation. This isn't going to be a huge snow event, but we are talking about accumulating snow now moving from Toronto over toward Montreal, up here into Syracuse, Rochester. I think some lighter snow over toward Buffalo, and then we could see some very light accumulations into parts of Pennsylvania with just a few flurries, I think, for West Virginia, down into Maryland, and maybe Northern Virginia toward D.C. Do we get some surprise snow here into Christmas? I mean, it's not a surprise if you see it coming, right? So there's a chance of some light snow showers and flurries. The best chance of snow clearly will be across northern parts of New England, and then behind this, some colder air tries to work into the Northeast. And then with some mixed precipitation possible. The pink, that is freezing rains. I don't know that the freezing layer will be deep enough for snow. That's something to watch. It doesn't look like a huge event regardless. And then across the Northeast as we head toward Thursday and Friday, looking relatively quiet. Not a lot of snow. These are going to be 2-day snow totals. So I'm going to fast forward this out. Most of this right here has pretty much already fallen. Once we move into, say, what now? Monday into Tuesday, there comes the snow into the Northeast. A couple of inches, maybe a band of 4 to 5 inches somewhere here into parts of Ontario, northern New York, into the northern parts of New England. I think that's where we see the most snow, and maybe even some snow down here into coastal Maine. Across Pennsylvania, New York, I mean, we're talking about a coating to maybe an inch in some areas. Some of you will just see a few flurries, maybe just enough to get you into that Christmas mood. The cold is here. This is really chilly air. Some of the coldest air of the season moving into the Northeast for the weekend. Sunday morning lows, maybe as low as the teens below zero up into the Adirondacks, here into the Northeast, the Green and White Mountains below zero here, up into ski country. Single digits, especially where we just got that snow into Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Temperatures dropping back into the single digits. We may get colder than that, especially if the winds can back off. And then as we head into Sunday afternoon, I mean, look at this, not much warmer. High temperatures probably not getting out of the single digits, maybe below zero into the mountains. Even down to New York, highs close to 20. Same for Hartford up toward Boston. We may be stuck in the teens, and then back here into parts of New York, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo. We're in the teens pretty much all day. And then another cold morning heading into early Monday. In fact, Monday morning could be the coldest especially for the far northeast as we get those calm winds moving in with some snow on the ground in places, temperatures dropping well into the teens below zero. A little bit, well, I don't know if you're going to call it milder here across Virginia and West Virginia where we're in the 20s. And then temperatures start to rebound some. Monday, we're back up into the teens here instead of below zero, 20s for New York, and then heading into Tuesday, a bit of a southwest flow starts to develop. So into New Jersey, we break above freezing here. We're back into the 30s. Heat wave is on, I guess. 30s across Pennsylvania. And then there's some cold air that tries to sneak in heading into Wednesday. It looks like it's mostly going to affect northern parts of New England. By Thursday, some of that tries to dig down here, down the Hudson Valley. Temperatures early Thursday morning in the single digits and teens. And look, Thursday, we may not get out of the teens and 20s here across a good chunk of New York, even New Jersey, stuck in the 30s, Boston with 20s and teens further to the north. There's a sign of some of that warm air trying to work up from the south into West Virginia with temperatures trying to climb into the 50s. Let's move just a little bit to the west now. We're across the Great Lakes here. Some lake effect snow coming off of Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. We'll see that some today. Not a lot. And a weak disturbance, if you will, trying to bring a few flurries across parts of Minnesota through the overnight. Not much here. The lake effect snow will start to calm down. We'll see that basically go away. And now we turn our attention just to the west as our Clipper system moves through, starting to pick up as we head into late Sunday night into Monday. You're seeing some rain here across Lake Michigan. Temperatures relatively warm over the water, but this snow is going to be driven synoptically by a larger weather scale feature. Here's an area of low pressure moving through. On the southern side of it, you've got your winds kind of coming in like this. So it may be a little too warm. We may see some more of a mixed precip here right along the Michigan, Indiana, Ohio border. There's been some differences into where this heavier band of snow is. Is it going to be here or is it just going to be just a little bit to the south? But this is not a huge snow event, just a couple of inches out of this. And you can see that warm air just to the south influencing our precip as we head into Tuesday, really Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening with some rain, snow mix across even southern Michigan. And then temperatures start to go up. High pressure building in. There will be likely some cold air at the surface here. So I think you got to watch any precip that starts to move north Christmas Day. Do we get a little bit of mixed precip, maybe some freezing rain? That's what the pink is here across parts of Michigan. And then now look, the warm is on, and now we're seeing temperatures climb by the end of the week, warm enough for just rain. There's a sign of some of that cold air trying to stay entrenched, but eventually it scours out. And then we will turn cold again. Take a look at some of the snow totals. Heading into Monday morning, we'll see the snow going here. And then heading into Monday afternoon, your totals, somebody could get 4 to 5 inches, I think, maybe even up into the UP, northern parts of the lower peninsula. And then back here from Green Bay, just north into parts of Wisconsin, maybe an inch to 4 inches in some areas, especially the closer you get to the lake as this system sort of ramps up as it moves off to the east. And then we're done with the snow for a little while. Bitter cold on Saturday morning when we woke up, and not warming up much heading into Saturday afternoon. Single digits and teens here. We're going to see a big difference, though, as we head into the later part of the week. Another cold night and early Sunday morning with some snow on the ground here in Michigan with high pressure building in. I think we get below zero in many areas. So a chilly start on Sunday, but we'll rebound pretty quickly back up into the 20s, especially back across Iowa, Indiana, Illinois. You're seeing that warm air start to surge north here up toward Chicago. As we head into Monday, temperatures start to rise. Now we're up into the 30s, close to 40 degrees. I think we'll crack 40 for Chicago. Not up to Green Bay, though. Milwaukee likely still in the 30s here, but we're talking about 30s, surging north into Michigan, too. As we move into Monday night, another chilly night, seasonably chilly, but look, overall, your temperatures are on the way up. Christmas Eve, temperatures in the 20s. Not a lot of very cold air. I mean, I showed you some of that rain trying to move north. It could be a cold, miserable rain in some of these areas and very close. That's why we're seeing some of the models showing some freezing rain. Let's move to the southeast. High pressure building in. It's kind of quiet here. Not a lot of sensible weather other than some sunshine. There will be more clouds into Florida as we get this easterly flow, and the rain chances will start to increase as we head into Monday. Rain chances also increasing across Missouri and Arkansas, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, West Kentucky and Tennessee. As our Clipper system moves through, most of that precipitation to the north, but we're bringing the moisture in off the Gulf. We're bringing it into Florida. We're dry here for a good chunk of the southeast. More rain starts to increase in coverage as we head into Tuesday, so now our rain chances going up here into southeast Texas. You know, I don't know that we see, again, I talked about that Clipper system bringing some mixed precip here, maybe some light snow into parts of the Appalachians Tuesday, but other than that, not a lot of precipitation. Rain increasing here as we head through Wednesday. So I think we'll see above average rain in some areas. And then the coverage of the rain starts to increase as we head into Thursday. Christmas, again, looking kind of wet for some of you, but really that rain increases across the southeast as our next system moves east out ahead of this. I mean, I think you got to watch here. I mean, it's too early to tell. Do we see some strong to severe weather across the south heading into Friday, Saturday, maybe into Sunday? I don't know yet. I'm going to be watching it, though. High pressure to the north and east of here, funneling some cold air down the east side of the mountains. Your warm air surging up from the west. So does that create a little bit of mixed precipitation here into the mountain valleys, especially of western Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley, up into the northern mountains of West Virginia, and into Pennsylvania, western Maryland? Let's wait and see on that. The chances are showing up, and then temperatures stay warm heading through the 30th. I think there are some big changes on the way, and there you go. You can kind of see that heading into the 1st of January. Your temperatures over the next 24 hours getting cold again heading into Sunday morning with below freezing numbers across a good chunk of the southeast. High temperatures on Sunday warming up across Texas back into the 50s. You can see that cold air here into the mid-Atlantic, down into parts of the Carolinas. That cold air being reinforced at the surface. You can see numbers in the 30s as we head into Monday afternoon. A lot colder for the Piedmont up into Virginia, the coastal plain, as that wedge setup is really evident here, and your numbers warming up west of the mountains into the 40s, close to 50 for places like Huntington, down to Lexington and Louisville. Another chilly morning east of the mountains heading into Tuesday, Christmas Eve, but temperatures warming up now across the south. We're back into the 50s, close to, well, almost 60 here back toward Memphis as we move through Christmas Day. Mild up here into the Mid-South, up to the Ohio River. We're pushing 50, almost 50 in Raleigh, but it's not really that warm. That wedge still being felt here, and you can kind of see the influence of that even down here like this, with temperatures in the upper 40s and lower 50s into parts of Georgia. And then as we head into Thursday, there's your warm air head surging north, up the Mississippi River, up into Missouri. Temperatures close to 60 in some of these areas. And then again, I think you watch out heading into Thursday, into Friday, with temperatures in the 60s, a lot of dew points going up here out ahead of this too. So some moisture to work with, a difference in temperatures. Do you see some kind of squall line develop, some severe weather? That's the time period I'm watching as we head into this week. Across the central U.S., quiet here through the weekend. Not a lot going on. Maybe some mixed precip up across North Dakota as our Clipper system moves toward the Great Lakes. Rain chances, again, we've talked about up Missouri and Arkansas, but also increasing across Texas as we head into Tuesday. High pressure keeping us dry across Colorado at least through Wednesday. So Christmas looking okay along the Front Range into the Plains states. The rain now moving into East Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And then we're watching this system. That's the potential severe weather maker as it moves across the south and into parts of Texas as we head into Thursday. It's going to bring some snow here into Colorado, heading into Thursday into the mountains, late Wednesday night into Thursday. And then now we're watching this move to the east. Gulf flow moving in, rain picking up, and our next system across the Rockies bringing some snow here. And then as we move into next weekend, some colder weather, I think, starts to build in. And I'm telling you, do we get some kind of snow as we see this next cold wave move through? To be determined. I'll show you that in just a moment on some of what the GFS is thinking too, and the long-term European weeklies. Highs on the end of the east side of the mountains, pretty warm here on Saturday, up into the 50s, even 60 for places like Denver, down to Colorado Springs. Nice and warm here down into Dallas too. Relatively mild anyway, into the 60s, even 60s pushing up into Nebraska heading into Sunday afternoon. There's your real cold weather, though, up across Minnesota, North Dakota. We're stuck well below freezing as the ice chest is set in here pretty firm for now anyway. Look at the temperature difference. We're almost 80 here across South Texas, and then we're in the teens and 20s here. So a sharp temperature contrast this week as we see the seasons battle out here, so to speak. Winter is clearly going to win out, I think, as we head into January. And then your temperatures start to fall across the west as we head toward Saturday and Sunday into next week. Speaking of the west, let's go really far west. Our coastal system moving in. Our system moving into the coast. Some big waves, too, as hurricane-force winds are well offshore. We're going to see the surf pound the west coast over the next couple of days. And then your rain and snow move inland. And there's that snow moving into the northern Rockies, into the Canadian Rockies. Sunday, a bit of a break before our next system moves in. It's going to bring a lot of rain to the west coast once again, from Oregon, Washington, down into northern California. Rain and some heavy snow. It'll be high elevation snow as the warm air surges in here off the ocean. It's going to be quite heavy, though, into parts of British Columbia. A couple of feet possible, I think, here. And then more snow moving into Idaho, Montana, western Wyoming, and that could lead to some decent accumulations here. Temperatures are on the way down, though, as we move toward Christmas. We're going to stay above average here across a good chunk of the Intermountain West, but this next storm is going to bring some heavy snow, I think, into the southern Sierra. Maybe we get some rain into Southern California. It doesn't look like a lot, at least at this point, and I don't know that we get some rain into parts of northern Arizona, northern New Mexico. I don't think we see the rain into Phoenix, but we could have a white Christmas for Salt Lake City with snow flying here into the Wasatch. Yes, even down to the city level here with that colder air moving in, and then that snow moves into northern New Mexico and Colorado as we move through the rest of Christmas Day with another storm moving into British Columbia. I mean, just the snow is just going to pile up here into the mountains with this setup, and then more rain and snow a little bit further south now as our storm track shifts just a little bit. A quick look at your snow. I talked about those really high snow levels. That's why you're not seeing that much here. Things change somewhat heading into Christmas. There's your snow into the Intermountain West toward the Rockies, into the Wasatch and Salt Lake, maybe a couple of inches here. And then beyond this, I mean, look at the snow into British Columbia, into those mountain areas, 3, 4, 5, some models trying to show close to 6 feet of snow. And then now we're finally getting the snow down into the Sierra with temperatures warm across the far southwest, close to 80 in the desert areas as we head through Saturday. Cold across the Rockies, that's typical, right? But even Salt Lake City getting well above freezing today and also into Sunday. That changes, though, as we head into next week, especially as we get close to Christmas with temperatures dropping at least below or near freezing into the Intermountain West. Highs on Christmas Day likely not getting very much above freezing from Salt Lake up to Boise, and colder, I guess, across the West. Let's fast forward all of this out and let's look at some of the longer range outlooks here. The GFS, there's your rain, there's your snow across the West. We've talked about all of this. I'm going to take you beyond next week. I'm not going to believe anything I see on the GFS, but I want to show you the pattern. That's what I'm more interested in than any specific storm. You've got your trough starting to dig in, and that's why I think it could turn cold. Now, I said at the beginning of this video, there could be some surprises somewhere. Do you get some kind of weird upper low, and do you get cold enough to maybe get a little bit of snow in places where you might not normally see snow? I mean, do we get a little bit of snow into Oklahoma around the end of the year? Does something try to form here into the Tennessee Valley to put some snow here? I don't know that it does, but one thing I feel more confident about is that we turn cold toward the 1st of January. It may be more like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but either way, that's going to be cold, continental, polar air moving south again. The limiting factor, I think, for snow, especially east of the Mississippi, would be the fact that it's continental polar air, which is very dry. It's cold, and now you're just relying on clipper systems to bring snow in. My question is, do we see this trough shift a little bit further to the west, and now you get your storm track more like this? I'm not going to believe the GFS on January to put snow here, but yeah, you get the idea. This is the European ensembles. Uses a variety of forecast parameters, and the average model consensus is that as we head toward that first week of January, cold here, and you almost develop, if you look at a couple of different the ways the models are running out, some cross-polar flow. So you pull that air across the North Pole from Siberia down into North America, and you put it here into the central and eastern U.S. Question is, if your trough is like this, that means you're probably going to be cold and dry with just those clipper systems moving through. If your trough axis is more like this, which some of the long-range European weeklies have, now you get your storms moving up the East Coast. A bit of a long forecast. Let me know what you think. If you made it this far, I hope it means you enjoyed it. I hope you'll subscribe and come back. More of these to come. Have a great Saturday. See you next time.